And we're off, I think. Let me just check every system and stuff. Um, as always, welcome to well, not as always, but welcome to the first live stream fly tying session here in English from Nordic Anglers. I've spiced up things a bit, and then I don't know if it works, but it kind of looks like a racing scene or something. But I was just tired of the white wall, so I just had a bunch of banners and I just plastered them on there. So I want to ensure that everything is nice and clear. Can you see the is the video working? And also, I want to hear if the audio is working as well. So I know there's a bit of lag and stuff. So please comment in write a comment if everything is as it should be, or if it's not, then I'll try to see what I can do about that and fix the stuff. But just gonna swap cameras again. Just 1 second. There we go. So today we're gonna tie two different flies. We're gonna tie a fairly simple but really effective way of tying pike and even musky fly. And I mean, this can probably be styled down or sized down, so it would be a great fly for, I don't know, bass perhaps, or walleye definitely as well, and perch also. Thank you, Rob, for sharing that everything is as it should be. Um, well, as I said, today we're gonna tie pike fly, and this is the first one. It's actually a fly that I've been thinking quite a lot of, but haven't done a video of. But it's basically a really easy way of tying loads of cool and awesome pike flies. And then after this one, I'm gonna have to adjust the settings a bit. Then we're gonna tie my one of my all-time favorite salmon flies. It's probably the salmon fly that I've caught most salmon on, at least in Denmark. If Because I caught just a ton of salmon in Iceland in one trip on the HKA Sunray. But besides that, I think this has been my most productive fly. Um, well, I think basically we should get going. I think. Um, Let me just see here. And of course, if you have any questions or anything you want me to elaborate on, then do not hesitate. Please write a comment in the commentary. One thing I probably should mention is I've had quite a lot of people ask me about this in emails and via Facebook and stuff. The only way you can actually comment is if you have a Google account and you're logged in and logged into YouTube, then you're able to make a comment. If you do not have one of those, then all you can do is watch regretfully. But they really want you to get a Gmail account, but that's how it is. Yeah, the problem with that, Rob, is now you only see, but you're only gonna see the part of the fly. This is a size 880 hook, and in order to really see exactly what is going on here, when I start tying the fly, as soon as I mount the hook, you'll see why. Then this needs to be like this. I can move the camera further back if that is what you wish for. Maybe like so. That Yeah, you will probably see what's going on anyway. So maybe that's a fair point. That's a fair point, Rob. Um, but basically, I think we should get started with the fly. I'm just gonna unmount this. So this is a fairly large fly, and I like my pike flies to be large and bulky, but without being too heavy. So they are easy to cast. A fly like this you can cast on an 8 weight. I use a 9 weight or even 10 weight, but when I use the TFO, they say it's a 10 weight, but I use 9 weight lines on there. But I like to have bulky flies that moves a lot of water, but still is very lively and have a lot of have a lot of movement, and that is in particular why we're going to do this fly as we are today. It's not a difficult fly, and it's tied in the I can't remember what that style of fly is called, but they're tied on the it's a swim bait hook. Of course, it's a swim bait. They're tied on the swim bait hook, which is a hook that is developed by Erics. It's developed for Erics by a guy called Gunnar Brammer and also Paul Monahan. Both of those are truly awesome people. And I really like this style of tying, where you actually tie just on this short portion of the hook up here, as you can see. You only tie on the front of the hook here, because it has a lot of weight in the hook here, it will balance, so the hook point will be upward, so you can fish this really slowly without having to tangle too much with the bottom. You can even do more if you add a rattle to this one. I'm not gonna do this for this one because I want this to be a hover fly. I want this to hover as much in the water, so I do not want to add additional weight to this one. But I have a lot of videos where I show exactly how you mount a rattle here, and this will give it a even more keel effect, but it will also make the fly sink faster. Well, maybe I should change my shirt, I think. I'm just gonna test that out, I think. Nah, it's gonna be fine. It's going to be fine. There's just a bit of exposure here. But as I said, this is a big hook. This is a size 6.0. And for my pike flies, I use the quite heavy 100 denier Vevus thread. Yeah, you should be able to see that. Because it's just a lot easier to tie big flies and to really pile on some tying thread to ensure that that everything is nice and fastened and secured. Also, this way of tying this pike fly here, it's basically kind of an idea on how to do a fly. It doesn't necessarily needs to be in these colors, although green and black is some of my favorite colors. I mean, you could easily swap the black for basically black. That would be a nice fly as well, or you can do it in red and white. You can do it in whatever. It's basically the style of tying here that I find interesting and intriguing, because it's fast, easy, and it just fishes really well. So you could kind of call this an entry level pike fly, but I'm gonna have some in my box anyway, because it's just a style of fly that catches a lot of fish. So the first thing we need, as for many pike flies, we need some bucktail, and for this I'm going to use some black bucktail to kind of make the base of the fly. I had found the bucktail that I wanted to use. Bucktail is regretfully hard to come by these days. In particular, the really long bucktail. It's for some reason there seems to be some people making hats out of the best quality bucktail, and they're buying up all the bucktail that is available in the really large tails. They're buying all of those to make hats for some reason. So it's hard to come by. I have some of the medium bucktail, and basically in the store, but basically the medium bucktail, it's just the piece of leather that is smaller. It's not the actual hairs that are shorter, so that's quite usable as well. I take a fairly large amount of bucktail here, and I tie this. I do not tie this in reverse, because I want it to have bulk, but I don't want it to be that bulky. And basically I try to tie this as close to the ends of the bucktail as possible. Then I apply some pressure. Oh, there is some fibers here that's in the way. And basically just tie this down here, about 1 centimeter from the finishing point of the hook. And basically what you get is, why is that so strange? Oh, some of it was underneath. I tried to get as much length out of this as possible and ended up having some of the hairs not being caught by my tying thread, so I'm gonna have to add a bit more, but that's okay. We can do that. I really want this. I wanted this to be as long as possible. Maybe I should have changed my shirt. I'm gonna change my shirt. Just hold on 1 second. Sorry about that. This is gonna make the black fly look a lot easier to see, I think. I hope it will work with the light settings. Oh, this is not my shirt. This is not my shirt, it's too small. I'm sorry, we're gonna have to go with the black one. I should have thought of that before. Oh well. Can't think of everything. As soon as we're gonna tie some of the chartreuse in there, it's gonna be no problem. So as I said, I have to add a bit more of the bucktail in order to get this as dense as I want it. Well, I think, Rob, in regards to what part of the bucktail you're using, I think that Gunnar Brammer did a video regarding that, but I must say for these pike flies, basically I just use whatever, because it will look really well, it will stand out, it will give what is needed for this, but there is a difference in both in how thick the hairs are, and also how straight they are. So there is definitely a difference, and you know, you can use the type that you like the best for whatever you like the best. So I just applied a lot of pressure to this one to ensure that it stays in place. There we go. And if you want, then this would be a good time to apply some Sabagap to really ensure that your hair stays exactly as they are intended. The thing about Sabagap is, if you use too much, like I did just now, you'll have to remove some of that again. Otherwise, I mean, if you have time for it to dry, then no problem. But I don't, because this is a live stream, so I'm just gonna take. I had a feather lying around here. I'm just gonna cover this in super glue, and then that will work. Then I'm gonna move the tying thread a bit further up the hook shank here. Again, this is a pike fly, so we do not need to take too much care. Yeah, I understand why that can sound funny. It's not my T-shirt, but I have a pile of shirts with logos in the room here, for when we're doing fairs and stuff, and there, I assure you, they are all clean. But I just brought a bunch of them home to wash, and that's why I only had one left in blue. And that one was definitely not my size. I don't know whose size it was, but it definitely was not my size. Or I have grown a bit in the past couple of years. I don't know. It's either one of those two. So now we have basically the the start of the fly here, and actually I want to taper this even more. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take another bundle of bucktail, not as big as the first one, and I'm gonna tie this down where we are now. So basically this one was to ensure that we got as much length as possible, and then we're gonna tie down the second bundle of bucktail here. I'm gonna try to distribute this so it gets all the way around the hook. Applying a lot of pressure. There we have it. And this time I'm gonna cut away everything as cleanly as possible because I need the space for all the rest of the materials here. There we go. And now I need two different things. And one of them is a material that I've not been using so much before. It kind of looks like, you know, a really, really ugly beard, or a really, really see-through skirt, or I don't know what this is, but in the shop it's called grizzly fiber. It is a it's a material I actually did not know we had in stock, and it actually it's on sale just now. At Grizzly here. I'm just gonna send you a link here because I actually think this should not be on sale, because I'm really starting to like this material quite a lot. It was a material we thought we were gonna, you know, let go, so not restock. But after I've been tying with this, I must say this is the closest thing you'll ever get to an expensive saddle like this one from Whiting. And it's really awesome. I mean, you could get one of these, but one of these are, first of all, they're really hard to come by. I just received this one from Whiting. I handpicked this for my pike flies when I went to visit Whiting, but one of these are just really yeah, they're expensive, but they're awesome. But I mean, it's not the same. I know it's not exactly the same, but this comes close, and the price for this material is really good. So there's a lot of material, and the fibers here are really thin, so it has a lot of movement in the water. I've been using this for some sea trout, sand eels, and stuff as well. It's easy to use. There's a lot of material here, and this is fast becoming one of my really favorite materials for pike flies, because it has all the barring, all the markings of the grizzly feathers. It's just, well, basically it's just awesome. I'm gonna swap here. So basically I take this and then I try to distribute it so it's gonna be not completely around, but on the upper 180 degrees of the hook here. And I want this to be fairly long, so this is going to be kind of like a tail that has a lot of movement, and it's going to add to the overall length of this, and it's going to cover basically the top 80 degrees of the fly here. I'm gonna turn this over in a second, but it's important that these the ends here are not completely uniform, so I'm gonna trim these a bit with my scissor, basically because these are not natural fibers. Then if you just have, you know, if you've cut straight across here, you're gonna have something that looks really horrible, and it's way better to have ends that are not completely uniform in length. And then I'm gonna tie on top of this. Apply a lot of pressure. There we have it. So this is gonna be kind of like in the middle of the fly. As you can see, it's only on the top here, and because these fibers here are so thin and slim, they are really gonna move a lot in the water. They add contrast. They're also fluorescent. So they what many people called UV, so they have that effect as well, and they will be kind of really nice core of the fly here. They will not take over the fly color scheme completely, but it's just a really nice, really nice fiber. It's kind of like only the uncurled part of the big fly fiber, but it's barred. So it's, yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. You should definitely check that out. Then I'm gonna take some flesh, and for this we're gonna use the hello Solitude and Wilderness, and hello of course to everyone else as well. Then we're gonna take some of the Flesh Boom Magnum holographic in chartreuse. Again, awesome color, and the Magnum flesh here is for pike flies, without a doubt the best material out there. As you can see, I've used quite a lot of this. There's just an outrageous amount of materials in the pack, and the quality here is outstanding. It's completely smooth. The surface here is completely smooth, which is really important for pikes. Because if it has any sort of crinkle whatsoever, when you try to remove this from the jaws of a pike, you will have problems. You'll just have a ball of woolly flesh fibers that are really not something you can work with. Flesh that has crinkles or have texture to it can look, and you can build some fairly nice looking flies from that, but as soon as you take them fishing, then it will be an absolute nightmare, at least if you catch any fish on those. So that's important, and I see a lot of flesh types out there used for pike flies, but what you want is, at least if you want your fly to last for more than one pike, you should definitely get some flesh that is completely slick, like this is. So now we added the shiny chartreuse on top here, again to kind of make this really shiny core of the fly. Now it's time for the next thing. So far we've used 3 materials. We've used the bucktail, which probably everyone have. Then you can either use the hackles or the grizzly fiber. And now I'm gonna use some material that is a bit hard to come by. I have some of these in the shop in black and in chartreuse. This is ostrich, and ostrich is awesome because it's not as expensive as hackles, but it has kind of the same features, but it also gives a bit more bulk, and it also has just an insane amount of movement in the water. And we only sell these in half feathers in the shop, but the quality of these are really outstanding. I think it's called XXL ostrich or something. If you just search up ostrich in the web shop Nordic English, you'll find these. So basically, I just cut out a piece of the feather here, and have this in between my fingers, like this. Then I'm gonna bundle this up together, so I get one big bundle of ostrich, like this. And these are also nice. Ostrich feathers are nice, but not in as big a quantity as I'm using here. For instance, for sand eel patterns and stuff. And this I want to have as much as possible all the way around the hook here. I want this to be distributed all the way around, so it's going to kind of be a corona around the entire fly. And as you can see, the length here of this is pretty spectacular. So we're gonna have, this is gonna be a bit further down. It's gonna be a bit longer than the actual bucktail, but it's not gonna be as long as the tail with the flesh and stuff. And it will give a lot of volume, but it will also really be something that moves very nicely in the water. I have to tie this up here. Why won't it stick? There we go. And this, again, this will give the fly here kind of a core of where the flesh just shines a bit in there, and you can see the fluorescent core from the grizzly fiber as well. And I mean, if you just look at it now, just like this is a deadly fly in its own right, just as it is now. Well, I think that the Vossler reels are quite nice. I haven't had any of them myself. I have a friend who bought one who was quite pleased with it, but it seemed to have some sort of malfunction, so he got it changed. But I haven't fished with Vossler reels. But from what I hear from around is that it's German quality, and it's hard to argue with I mean German quality. It's just a really nice look, and the way I did this, the way I did this with the core here is what I'm saying is it's an easy way to tie a really nice style of fly. And you can, of course, if you want, you can easily swap the ostrich out with something else, another artificial fiber or something, or even just a bundle more of bucktail. That would work well. But the ostrich here is something that I have in many of my pike flies, and I really like it. I try to have as much as possible in different colors. I actually want a bit more ostrich. But the really long here is hard to come by, and I know that I have it just now in black and in chartreuse. I can't recall if I have any of the other colors, but that's something I'm gonna work on because I mean it's really just awesome material, but hard to get the perfect quality. Regretfully, there we go. Just a bit more of this. Sometimes if you're tying smaller flies than this, you can use a marabou hackle, which kind of have a bit of the same effect. As you can see, I'm really just applying a lot of pressure, and when you tie things down like this with a lot of tying thread, because it's a pike fly, you don't need to smear it with Sabagap every single time you tie something. You can do that, and that will of course make your fly a bit more sturdy. But this fly will last me, maybe, I'm pretty sure it will last me 15-20 pikes, and I think that's about what you could expect from a pike fly. That's also why I like these big hooks and I tie big flies, because in general what I find with pike flies is that the bigger the fly, the bigger the pike you catch, and basically that's a really good rule of thumb. Of course, you can catch big pikes on small flies as well, but it's mainly something that you probably will see if you fish water that has been fished a lot, where the fishing pressure is high. Then the smaller flies can be good. But if you're fishing water where the pike don't see a lot of flies, then I mean the big pikes will grab a big bite over a small bite any day. And well, basically, so I go big. The next thing we're going to use is this. This is Nayet, and we're going to use this in chartreuse. And Nayet is a cool material for making heads. And on this fly, we could do a lot of things with glue and eyes and stuff. But basically, I want to have a fairly fast fly to tie that looks great, and first of all is a fly that fishes great. Of course, if we added eyes and a glue header or a fish mask or something, we would have a fly that probably would work better on Instagram, but I'm not sure if it would work better in the water. And the water is where the pike is. So today we're doing it the easy way, because I need to fill my box. Basically, I'm gonna find a nice bundle of Nayet here. cut it off the leather, like so. And it's important to treat this correctly, because as you can see, it tapers quite a lot out here, and it's really woolly up here. So if I just tied this on right now, I would get an insanely bulky head and a really big head of tying thread. So basically what I need to do is grab my comb, my brush, and then I'm gonna brush as much of these woolly parts out here as I can, even lay it on the table and just brush it well with the comb. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of fluffy hairs here. Gonna hold it a bit further back again, and you can even use your fingers as well to remove some of all this woolly part of the hairs. That's about it. So I think I've really cut down the actual size of the head here. Big pike fluffy hair fly. Yeah, you could call it that. That works. And basically, this last thing here is to create even more volume and even more bulk. So I try to distribute the hairs here, the naillette here, between my fingers, so I have kind of, you know, it's easy for me to add to the fly and to cover the fly all the way around. So try to get it as evenly all the way around the hook here. There we go. And then all the way up just behind the actual head, I'm gonna make some tying turns with the tying thread to really have this be all the way around, kind of like a halo, a corona effect. And I mean, this fly, exactly this fly, but in orange would be really awesome. It would be really awesome if you swapped all the black parts for white, all the flesh for silver, and then they made the head here in red. That would also make a really nice fly. So basically, you can change the materials out in whatever way you want. It's just a really nice base way of tying that just performs and performs and performs and performs. I don't know if you can see it, but one end of my scissor here is shorter than the other, because when I tied one of these earlier today, I accidentally cut into the eye of the fly here, ruining how much is that in euros? Not 100, but maybe 60 euro scissor on the first time I used it. That's, I would say, pretty far from optimal. I'm gonna trim as much of this off I can with this mangled scissor here. Maybe I should just take and grab another one, but yeah, it's okay. And to finish off the fly, I'm gonna tie down all of the leftover materials, get a nice small head. There we go. And of course, if you want, you can add a bead or whatever to give it more weight. But the way I would give this more weight is basically to there we go. Got this really nice distributed all the way around, as you can see. The way I would add more weight to this fly was to add a rattle to the as the keel, as that hurt. That's one of the disadvantages of tying this style. You get hooked quite a lot on the actual hook here. You can, if you want, you can take your brush and just very carefully comb a bit to give the perfect finishing touch to the fly here. As I said, if you want, you can easily add a head, add some glue, add some eyes and stuff. But for my fishing and for the purpose of this particular fly, then this is what I need. So I don't want to complicate it further, just to complicate it further. Um, this is the style of fly I needed. It has the bulk, it has the volume, it has a core of fluorescent and sparkle. It has a lot of kick due to both the ostrich, and it stays bulky because it has the core of the bucktail. So fairly simple, fairly easy to use and to tie, and I mean any color scheme like this in this style will work great. Well, yeah, Eric's is sharp. Fi in a real line means that the shooting line is floating, and the head, the shooting head, the actual weight of the fly is going to be intermediate. So the I is for intermediate. Mark Jensen, regarding the Pro 2 fly rods, then they are pretty good rods. They are in their price range. I would say absolutely the best bet for your money. I mean, I would say that the LK Legacy is a better rod than the Pro 2, but it's also almost double the price. And just now in the shop we have the Pro 2. We have discontinued those. They're going to be discontinued by TFO and be replaced by the Pro 3. So they are at a really sharp price at the web shop just now. So if you're in the market for one of those, swing by Nordic Anglers. You can get one at a really nice discount just now, and they are nice. They're great rods. And as I said, they're the best rods you can get in the price range. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, I know, Rob. But I have done some black and purple, so I thought black and green is a really good color combination, and also this is a combination that I'm thinking a lot of using, on tying a lot of for when I hopefully get back in the future. We'll have the chance to go back to Argentina to fish for golden dorados. So I thought up this fly in order to show my friend who I went to fish for golden dorado, who does that a lot, to see what he thinks of this style and type of fly here, to actually give him to test out, because he's going soon, and yeah. But I almost did a black and orange, because that would have been awesome as well. But I mean, you can do a lot of things with this type of fly, and you can see how I got the Nayette to be nice and evenly all the way around. It doesn't have a too bulky head as well, so it's, as I said, fairly easy to cast. It swims really well, and well, basically, I'm pleased with this one. Sparkle, kick, and it will catch pike. I can assure you that it will. Okay. Yeah, I think they will as well, Rob. Okay, now I have to check. Oh, that took quite a long time for a fairly simple fly. I'm probably talking too much. Now I have to just adjust the the setup here for making a salmon fly. Oh no, is my and I need to do. I need to just look at where the angle of the camera is. There we go. I need to find my tubing. Oh, here it is. And I think that is not quite centered. There, I think that's better. And now we're gonna tie the other fly here. The other fly is gonna be. Oh, I'm missing a liner. 1 second. I think I had one laying around over here for this. The other fly we're gonna tie to today is gonna be a salmon fly, as I proclaimed, and as I said, this is gonna be one of my absolute all-time favorite salmon flies. This is gonna be the Tilda, and basically it's the first fly I tied and used with 3 hackles, and I had a lot of success on other types of flies before this one. But when I started using these 3 hackle flies, my catch rate on Danish salmon simply just exploded. I don't know. It probably has something to do with me gaining experience as well. But what I see is these types of flies that has 3 hackles. The amount of patterns that has been turning up in Denmark that has 3 hackles has just exploded, because it's just really awesome flies that just continues to produce and produce and produce. And this type of fly is well known and has been used for a long time, both in the Irish shrimp patterns, but also in something like the sock, the woolly stocking, or whatever you want to call it, that has been producing in Mørum for many years. But these are just, I don't know what it is, but there just seems to be something magical about 3 hackles and some dubbing, and that's it. I've adapted this a bit to fish in the Danish rivers by giving it a lot of weight. The first one I fished and caught salmon on was unweighted, but it works quite a lot better with some weight in there as well. And it's probably, this one is probably the salmon fly that I have the most faith in of all salmon flies. I mean, the jester that I did this year is really amazing as well, and so is the Astrid, which is dubbed after my now ex-wife. I was thinking of renaming it just the X, but I don't know. No, it's just laughs. We have a really good relationship still, and of course a lot of work together in regards to the kid and stuff. So nothing there. We agreed on stuff, but it's fun to have a fly that's named after what is now my ex-wife. Yeah. It's still a great fly. Also, the rubber rocket is another great pattern with 3 hackles. So there's a lot of really good flies out there with 3 hackles. The first thing for this fly is, oh, I'm sorry, I had to change camera. The first thing for this fly is to use some opal mirage tinsel, just to make a small butt here. We're gonna cut that away, and then we need some. Some golden pheasant. Some of the red feathers from the golden pheasant. Let me see if this is one of the pelts that I have used all the good feathers on. It looks a bit like that. I think there's one here. I need to find one that has the right length. There's not many. I've been using this quite a long time, I think, so there's not many of the correct length feathers here. Of course, it also depends quite a lot on I was just checking the chat, um, um, and I lost my train of thought. But basically, we need one of the red feathers here for the first hackle, and we need to tie this in the tip. Um, Depending on what size you want this, and I have this in both a fly that is perhaps, I don't know, perhaps 1.5 centimeter long. And then I have one that is maybe 2 centimeters long, depending on water conditions, on water levels, and how murky the water is, and what temperature the water is as well. Because when you're fishing for salmon, one of the most important things is to have the right size of fly. The size is probably the size of the fly is probably the most defining factor of to define how much success you'll have in salmon fishing. And the funny thing is, what I see in my salmon fishing is that every single year, what happens is my flies tend to go smaller and smaller and smaller year after year. So this year I have had some really small flies, and it's funny that such small flies can really make a difference and catch a lot of salmon. I'm gonna grab one to show you the smallest one I caught a salmon on this year. Here is my salmon box. Just gonna show you one of the small ones. See how small that is? That is not a big fly. That is not a big fly. This is perhaps, total length of the tube is perhaps 1.2 centimeters, something like that. And this one I got a really nice salmon on this year, maybe 85 centimeters or so. And it just goes to show that size does matter, in particular when it comes to salmon. Okay, now I've secured my hackle. Cut that away. Then we need a bit of flash here, and the original pattern here has some fluorescent crystal flash in pink. You can use purple, or you can use red, or you can use pearl as well. It's not you can use yellow even as well. Yellow looks quite nice on this pattern. What I like to do is perhaps have a bit much flash, have a lot of flash, and then basically if I see the water levels are low, I took 4 strands of this, and then I cut it into so I didn't take too much flash at one time. Instead, I just cut it into smaller strands, so I can save materials that way. Basically, try to distribute this along all the way around. And as I said, I have quite a lot of flash on here now, but when I'm at the water, if I decide that, you know, it's really shiny, though it's really sunny, and perhaps this is too much flash, basically what I can do is I can remove some of the flash fibers on the bank, to ensure that I you know that this is not too shiny, because that can be an issue. It's not often an issue with pikes, but it can be with salmon. There we go. Now we need some red dubbing. I mean, most red dubbing will do. For this, I have used the Salmon Supreme dub a lot, and that's a quite nice dubbing, as long as it's red, and it's perfect if it's fluorescent red as well. We're gonna add some dubbing here. And this part of the fly is where you define the actual size. So I'm gonna make this a mid-size fly, Not the smallest, but not the biggest either. So this is going to be approximately 2 centimeters in length, which is about the average size I use for these. There we go. I'm going to take a red hackle. And whiting American hackle, both the American but also the streamer capes are just amazing in colors. We have a lot of these American rooster on sale at the shop right now. If you want a badger feather, looks great for this fly, but a pure red one looks awesome as well. But this size is perfect. Yeah, this looks nice. I picked out my feather. This has a bit of badger effect to it, and badger means that the center of the feather is darker, is black or dark brown, and then the rest of the feather is. These American roosters are amazing. They are amazing. So thin hackle stems, and just that Tom Whiting is a mad scientist, but he's a genius. He's a mad genius. I really like the badger effect on this one. Gives a bit of contrast to the rest of the fly as well. Cut away the leftover. There we go. Then I'm gonna do a whip finish. Apply pressure. Cut it off. And then I'm gonna have to find one of the beads we need for this one. We're gonna take a black one. This is the Pro Flexi beads in 5.2 millimeters. Those are the ones I prefer. You can use Future Fly in 5 millimeters as well, in both tungsten and in brass, depending on how fast you want this to sink. The ones I use the most are brass, because I think if you're using sinking lines anyway, then if you use a tungsten, then you'll get a really heavy fly. There we go. Now we have the yeah, Sebastian Cockfrost. The Hofnan or court gesture has 3 hackles. It has 1 brown and 2 black, and that was the one I was fortunate, lucky enough to catch the 3 big salmon in one day in Stone on this year. Actually, it was the first time I ever had that fly out for a spin in Stone. So it was really good. It was not the first time I fished it for salmon. I had 3 trips, I think it was 3 trips in Skjern, early in Skjern, without any luck with that fly. But as soon as I got back to the water that I know, and I know exactly because I've been fishing Stone quite a lot more than Skjern. So that's how it often is with salmon. You know, if you know your water, it's a lot easier to catch fish. I have places where I know, especially in the early part of the season, the water that I fish is maybe 5 kilometers long, but I don't fish all 5 kilometers. I walk down and then I fish 10 meters here and 20 meters there and 50 meters there, and then I swap between those maybe 10 different stretches of water, because I know that those are the places where the salmon is going to be resting if fresh fish has entered the river. And I do not know that about Skjern. Oh, so in Skjern I just basically have to just fish continuously and hope to that my fly will pass a salmon. But in Stone, I know I can say, okay, if we're gonna catch one, it's gonna be within the next 10 meters or so, and that of course gives you quite a lot of edge when fishing for salmon, because you can focus your fishing, and when you're fishing the early fish, where you're fishing for fish that enters the river perhaps even on the same day, perhaps even hours before, then you can easily fish a stretch of water and then sit down and wait for a bit, and then fish exactly the same stretch again. Um, um, this year I fished the five hotspots, or the best stretches. And the first time I fished all of these hotspots, I caught the first salmon on the fifth of these spots. Then I went up, fished down. Then I caught a salmon on the third spot. Then I went up and fished down. Then I caught one on the first of these. So I fished the same water 3 times, and every time I passed, in my rotation past some of this water, I caught a new salmon. And if I had just, started at the top of the water and then fished as long as I could in the 5 kilometer stretch, then I would not have gotten 3. For sure, I would not have gotten 3. In the early, in the late fishing, when the river is teeming with fish and there's a lot of fish everywhere, then you can fish more water. But when you're fishing the early fishing and you know your water, I would much rather fish. Let's say I could imagine, and I could see myself fish the same 50 meters of water, and then walk up, take a break of 5 minutes, and then fish the same 50 meters, and do that for an entire day. Because I know the biggest chance of actually hitting a salmon would be those 50 meters. It's boring, but it's not boring. You have a chance every single time. But and it's the best way to optimize your fishing. And besides, you get into a rhythm, and when you take breaks, because in salmon fishing the breaks are almost as important as the fishing, it's really nice to just know that, okay, I fished the water, it has to rest now. What can I do now? I can basically just sit here and just be alive and be happy that I'm salmon fishing. And that's not bad either. Yeah, uldsokken is a great fly. Uldsokken is a great fly. This tilde actually comes fairly close to uldsokken. Uldsokken is basically just 3 brown hackles, then black in between, and then a red butt. So it's pretty similar to this one. Now we're turning the brown hackle, which is the finishing hackle of the fly here. There we go. I think this is actually a bit smaller than what I anticipated. I did not make the red dubbing body as dense as I should have. So the bead here, it moved a bit down into the dubbing body. But then this is just going to be a fly I use for a bit when the water is a bit more warm. It's a bit warmer. Doing another whip finish, applying some pressure, cut away the tying thread, and then finish this off with a really small black cone head. And then you have the fly that, if I were to only pick one salmon fly for the Danish conditions, it's hard. It's because I really have a lot of faith in the court gesture as well. It would be between this one and the court gesture. It would be between this one and the court gesture. Because I think the court gesture is probably better early in the season, because it's a bit bigger and it has all the antennas from the boar bristle and some rubber legs and stuff as well. But if it were for, let's say, from June and throughout the end until the end of the season, then this one would be better. But the fish that we really want to catch are the big and shiny ones. So it's difficult. But luckily, I don't have to choose. I can have a box full of both of them, of all of them. And as you can see, the cone head here really makes the hackle fold nice back to cover the bead. and perhaps it's easier to see like this. Oh, that makes the colors really look strange. But there you have it, the tilde. 3 hackles, some dubbing, some weight. And of course, if you're fishing in waters where you don't need the weight, then simply just swap the bead for some black dubbing, and you're set to go. I think that's it for tonight. I can see my timing is quite well. This was about an hour, and that's what we're going for. These live streams are gonna be online every 14 days on at the same time as now. I do them every week, but it's only going to be every other week that they're in English. So if your native language is not Danish, and you do not understand Danish, then these are going to be every 14 days, every other week. If you want to swing by to see me rant in Danish, even though you don't understand it, then it's on the Danish channel from this as well. Otherwise, if you have any thoughts or any questions whatsoever regarding fly fishing, you're always more than welcome to reach out. My email is daniel@nordicanglers.com, and I'll be happy to help you with any gear-related or fly fishing-related questions. If you have any inputs and thoughts on what types of flies and what patterns you would like me to cover in these as well, then of course send me an email as well, because the comments here is on this live stream as soon as the live stream ends is not something that I can monitor. Otherwise, tune in next time in 14 days time. And it would be more than welcome to suggest flies or topics, because we could also do something that is not fly tying, that is not only fly tying. In Danish, I do a lot of talks about gear and stuff as well. If that's something you would like, then we can do that as well. Yeah, Rob, it's a good way to learn Danish for sure. But for now, I want to say thank you a lot for watching, and remember, swing by Nordic Anglers to see all of the materials used in this live stream, and just a ton of other stuff. Otherwise, I'll be heading home now. It's been a long day, and I'm really excited because tomorrow I have a full day of fishing for sea trout. Of course, we're gonna post a video regarding that as well. But I'm excited for tomorrow because the conditions are optimal just now. The water temperature is perfect. I know there's fish. The fish has been running on the coast just now, and yeah, I'm hyped. I'm ready, and I have a full day of fishing tomorrow. So thank you for watching, and if you're going fishing, I wish you all the best of luck out on the water. Thank you so much.